Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm going to be talking about a different topic today. Today's topic is going to be instant gratification versus delayed gratification, or just against, on the other side, just learning how to remove that need for gratification for something, you know what I mean? Even before drugs or the struggle or teenage years, it goes back, way back. And I know you're probably thinking, like, a kid between the ages of 3 and 7 throwing a tantrum, getting what he wants, and then being quiet. That goes even further back than that. You can think about when we're born, the first couple months of our life, when we're crying, because we don't know how to talk, we don't know how to get our point across. So the baby's crying, and then you have the caretaker, the parents or the caretakers, tend to that child as quick as they can. Get them some food, get them some formula, boom, 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 give them a little burp, and then they're quiet and they get some sleep. You know what I mean? And I know that's not exactly the same thing as the instant gratification that we deal with as adults, but in the way I see it, that's the start of it. That's where it begins, so it's deeply rooted within us even since birth. Okay, so moving on past that, you know what I mean? So like I said, when we're young, that happens with us. When we get a little older into our teens and we are even like 8, 7, 8, 9, we reach that age of reason and stuff like that, then we still start to struggle. But now it becomes more so like it's not about like, oh, we need that formula, we need food, literally. Now it just becomes different. It becomes like, oh, I want this toy. Oh, sorry, you can't have it. All right, because you've been bad the past week and you've really been mouthing off. No, I want it now, throwing a big fit, And then the parents have to weigh the options, am I going to say no to prove a point, or and have this kid throw a tantrum and make a huge thing in the middle of the store with people, or am I just going to give in? Well, you know what I mean? Sometimes giving in is not the right option, because that's just going to further the child's need and desire to do things like that, and they're not really going to learn, But even if somebody grows up perfectly fine and they're really good at that, they can get into it at a later age as well, so it doesn't matter. So now, imagine on top of that, imagine throwing a severe addiction on it. Imagine taking like a really bad addiction and throwing it on top of that mess. Okay, and this is what happens. It grows exponentially, and it grows rather rapidly, to be honest with you. We feel like we want the drugs and we want it now. Over time, that word want starts to become need. We need the drugs and we need it now. Or it doesn't even have to be drugs, it could be anything. We need blank and we need it now. So separating that want from that need, those words, that's where everything starts to get really twisted. You know what I mean? And people's judgment starts to get quite clouded. Whether we actually need it or not, this is precisely how it feels to us at the time. So also, not only that, but doing it, going through those motions for 10 to 12 years, after doing that for 10 to 12 years, it makes it feel quite impossible to be able to break the cycle. So that's why a lot of people, like even in their 40s and 50s, they still struggle with the idea of this. So I'm just blessed to have been able to get a grasp on things sooner. I'm 31 now, and I've been clean for like 3 years and a couple months, maybe 3 years and 2 months now, 3 years and 3 months. And I've had other clean time too, but this is like the best for me because it's much better. Like the first 8 months I did nothing. And then whatever now, like I have a medical card, so I smoke a little bit of weed. I smoke like 0.5 a day, if that, like half a gram of weed. So I smoke like little half a bowl packs here and there. And anyways, so like that's the worst thing. I stopped cigarettes. I don't put anything up my nose. I don't take pills. I don't abuse anything. I don't do powder on the streets. I don't do none of that. I don't even drink. It's been 5.5 years since I had a sip of any alcohol, beer, whatever, liquor, you name it. It's done. So I learned how to remove that. Thank God. That's all gone. I know people want to say, well, you put in the work. Yeah, but guess who helped to guide me there, and guess who helped me with all those situations? Something bigger than myself, So that's it. But that was a little off topic anyways. So getting back onto it, I ended up thinking, how am I going to do this? So here's how I replaced instant gratification with delayed gratification, or just like kind of removing it completely for the time being. Number one, I got rid of the entire idea of gratification as a whole. Like I deserve this. I'm entitled to this. I want this and I want it now. And then it would control my head. And until I got something or whatever that was, the wheels will keep turning. And I thought that feeling was never going to go away. I thought it was going to be with me until I die of old age if I made it that far, And that's a bad feeling to have. So that was number one. Number two, I had to define to myself. I had to define what I was doing, and then I had to invert it or reverse it entirely. So what does that really mean to me? So here's what it was. So for me, for things in life, it would be minimum effort put in, but me expecting maximum results or a reward, you know what I mean, for not even doing anything, So, and that's what it was. That's where that sense of entitlement comes from with us. And I said, okay, well, what's the next step? I said I have to reverse it. So instead of minimum effort with the hopes of a maximum reward, I'm now putting maximum effort into things that I do in life, and with little to no expectation of a reward, or especially like a big reward, or I deserve this, or this, I have this coming to me. You know what I mean? Remove those thoughts and definitely remove those actions. But it starts with up here. It starts with the thoughts. Then you can actually transfer that into being right there, like a tangible thing. What was going to really help me with this, like other than the fact that I've determined that this is what I have to do? You work on it mentally, but sometimes there's things in life that you can do and get into that are really going to help you along with that. And I didn't think of it, this isn't why I got into it in the first place, but this is just one of the great benefits that comes along with it. So thank God for MMA, literally. Thank God for anything like that, any outlet that somebody might have. Mine is music and MMA or kickboxing, whatever you want to say, dude. So thank God for that, because now what I learned through that is I go in there all the time and I train my ass off. And so I train my ass off each and every week, and then I looked at it from here. Okay, so I have to train hard for a year, even to just have like the mental capacity to think, okay, I can go in there with somebody else who's new and has only been training for around the same time as me, and I can go have an amateur bout, my first amateur match with another combatant. Okay, so I have to train for a year, and in August it will be coming up on a year, and then that's when I'm looking to potentially make my amateur debut, either in mixed martial arts, amateur MMA, or amateur kickboxing, which they call Muay Thai. Although in amateur you cannot throw elbows, I don't even think you can throw knees to the head. You can throw knees to the rib cage and to the solar plexus and stuff, but I'm pretty sure you can't do any more than that. So that's why I still call it kickboxing, especially for the amateur. But think about it. So a year putting in work just to get ready for that, and then an amateur career, even if I only want 3 to 6 fights and I just want to get the littlest amount of experience as possible so that I can turn pro, that's still, you're looking at another 2 years or 3 years. So 3 to 4 years for that. And guess what it's going to do? Throughout my amateur career, I'm still putting in all that hard work, the blood, sweat, and tears in the gym, the everything, just second guessing yourself, all that negative stuff. But you know what? You go through it anyways, and you do it anyways. You wake up the next day and you tell yourself something good about it so that you can keep doing it. It is very much so a mental battle just as much as it's physical, probably even more so. So, but here's the thing, even when I start my amateur career, there's no money to be made. There's no, attaching my name to something, really. Like, this is the beginning. That would be the very beginning of something new. So even the fact of going out there in front of people and performing and winning, it's not going to carry that same weight. You know what I mean? So where's the instant gratification in that? Exactly, it's not. And this is another thing that's going to help to propel me into becoming a hard worker, just like I used to be before the drugs took a hold of me and everything like that. So it's like all work, no reward. And that's exactly what I needed in my life. And that's why I think a lot of people who get lost in life and they find MMA, it's like a safe haven for them. It's their safe place. Even though you see people getting smashed sometimes in practice and stuff, it's still our safe place, dude, because we feel great when we go there. This is how we work on ourselves. People who get lost, and I'm not just talking about drug addiction. There's probably not even many people that I know like that around here. It's just people who maybe might be having mental struggles, things like that. Maybe something serious happened to you in your life and it put you into a huge spiral of like severe depression or social anxiety. These are things that can actually be worked on, especially with MMA, with any type of combat sport, and a lot of it is about building those friendships and relationships with other people too. But anyways, the mere thought of delayed gratifications is somehow enough for me to keep going. So I get through these hurdles, and then if I can get through these hurdles, then eventually I could turn pro. Then the hard work will get even harder, but it will at least finally be able to pay off. It will pay off finally, because then when you turn pro after all those years of sacrifice and selflessness, now you're going to start being able, when you win, you're getting paid pretty decent. You get paid to show, you get paid to win too, and all this. And then that's when other things can happen, and you can be getting exposure down the line to larger organizations and maybe one day make it to where I would really want to be in something like this, And it takes time, dude. It's going to take a lot of time, but guess what? It took time to ruin my life, so it's going to take time to make my life what I want it to be. That's just it, plain and simple, People get it twisted, and they expect the recovery to come quickly, easily, and be like, oh, okay, I'm free. Now I'm not an addict. No, I'm always going to be an addict in my mind. I just have to fight it every day. Just don't pick up. Don't go back to those old crowds and those old people. And I'm telling you, it's good because I can get my mind out of it, but it creeps up on you when you least expect it. I go to bed, I have no control over what happens. Half the time in my dreams still, 3.5 years clean, without one slip up, and I'm still half the time trying to get high in my dreams, or I'm meeting up with people in my dreams, and I wake up and I'm just like crazy stuff. So that's gonna happen. But anyways, so like I said, it will take time to make my life what I want it to be again. So there's 4 things that help me a lot: desire, motivation, dedication, and consistency. Things like that. Those help to make up the key to open that door for me or for anybody. So yeah, you know what I mean? My gratification for working hard is a potential long-term happiness. I look at the picture down the road, you know what I mean? I'm not going to get out of this rut of addiction and having to move back with my parents all the time and struggling financially. I'm never going to break that mold unless I really put work in and consistently. It's not just, I'm going to work hard for 6 months and then I'm taking the rest of my life off doing whatever, sitting there in my hand. You know what I'm saying, dude? That's not what it is. So in the meantime, I have very little things to reward myself with. And I don't mean very little things like only a few. I mean very little things like, put it this way. So once a week, I'll have a cheat meal because I've been eating clean so that I can train at my best. But once a week, once every other week, I'll have something. I'll have a little fast food or something. It's just to remind me, hey, you can do things like this too, but it has to be in incredibly small moderation, okay? I'll work my ass off in the gym for 1 to 2 hours, and I'm sweating and sweating. I'll take a hot shower. I'll go to my car, and on the way home or something, I get home, whatever, I'll smoke a little half of a bowl. And I'm talking the bowl is already small as it is, and I just pack half of it. I take 3 to 4 hits. I hold each hit in so that I blow it out. I feel good. That's my little reward for working hard and for going about my day like I should. I don't wake and bake anymore. I don't smoke until like 4 or 5 p.m., sometimes not until after I practice. You know what I mean? So this is how it is. You have to find things like this to help you out. I sleep good and take care of my body. Use these smaller and safer things to reward yourself, and don't reward yourself as much. And also put in work before you get these little rewards. Because like I said before, it was no work whatsoever and just, I deserve this and I'm going to get this and my mind's not going to stop racing until I get it. You know what I mean? So that's the craziness with it. That's all my notes and everything like that. So I guess that's about it. I always try to make these shorter, but here I am, 13 minutes and 47 seconds. Whatever. But it's just good to get that off my chest, and I really hope it helps somebody who's struggling with either addiction or just instant gratification in general, a sense of entitlement. Maybe you want to work on your patience in life. Maybe you want to find a way to put in more hard work and more hard work and less rewards. And what that comes down to is discipline. And that's exactly what MMA has done for me thus far and will continue to do for me. And it's only going to help me more and more. It's not like something where you get used to it and it gets stagnant and then it gets boring and then it fades. I hope not. But this is just how I feel. And I just wanted to share this with you guys, switch it up, do a little bit of a different video. I'll see you guys later because I literally have to eat something real quick and then I have to fly to practice. I got kickboxing tonight with everybody on my team, so I'm just very grateful for what I do have in life. You guys stay focused, and I will see you shortly in the next one. So until then, stay safe, be blessed, and live lavishly. I'll see you guys next time. Peace. Love y'all. You know it.